Okay, so today I'm going to be reacting to Season 1, Episode 6 of The Sopranos, and the one thing I haven't been looking at with these reactions is I don't typically look at the title, maybe because, I'm too lazy or I just don't notice it, or maybe I feel like, even that'll give away certain things and spoil certain things. I know Episode 4 was like the Meadowlands. Episode 1 in most series is typically just pilot. They don't really name it, but in fact, I feel like that's uniform across every series ever that I've seen, or any reference to a series. I always see that episode 1 is just called pilot. Like, why not? If I made one, I'd actually give it a proper name. Like, that's kind of stupid. But yeah, last episode was pretty good, and it introduced like the most interesting minor antagonist, at least that we've seen so far, where unless like Chris somehow becomes one and he portrays him later, like how he said, I might go to Hollywood and become the next Henry Hill, or at least that's the way that Tony took it. But I don't like the number of references they have to other mob stuff, though, too. Like, that's kind of weird because on one hand, they're trying to be funny with it, but on the other hand, it's kind of like a wannabe tendency that you don't respect it. Like, do real gangsters really sit around quoting gangster movies? It doesn't really feel like they would be doing that because they are the real thing, so they wouldn't need to, or they'd be coming up with their own quotes, which, this show has had some of its own, but it just feels like there is like you're trying too hard, you're like a wannabe. That's just what it feels like. You're quoting them rather than, that's my job to quote them. I'll make movie references because I've seen so many of them or I know them so well, not because actually I am in that world for real, in real life. Like, I'd feel embarrassed to do that. That's kind of dumb. The guy in like episode 2 or 3 who's like quoting the thing, whatever. I can't remember who he was quoting. He was quoting Brando, or he was quoting Look How They Massacred My Boy or something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, they introduced the most interesting minor antagonist, assuming that Uncle Junior could be the most interesting major one, like Hyman Roth. But this guy was somebody who took out 12 of their people in the past, right? And so it was a little lesson in me. I won't go on the whole rant again, but a little lesson in game theory from me for the series. It was a good episode. They set up that guy pretty well, but here's how I would explain it in game theory, which basically just means everything has like a good rhyme or reason to it. It's not just like random stuff happening. Like, Tony sneaks up on the guy and kills him. Oh, cool. That's it. That's all it took. Right, and we haven't even seen that Tony's good at that sort of thing, like sneaking up on people specifically, especially when he's this big, tall guy, right, where that should be a skill that he would almost struggle with, where the guy was even calling him, did you see this tall guy, right, that he saw him like outside his house or something like that. And so, yeah, this guy was established as very capable. So here are the game theory qualifiers and how they worked and didn't work. It worked for most of the episode, and it would have been an A episode, our first A, because like episodes 1 and 2 were B. I think episode 3 I gave a C. Episode 4 and 5 I also gave like a B. And so they've all been good, but not necessarily great. And so that had a chance to be because they set up this interesting rivalry between, it started off really funny, and then they set up this interesting rivalry between Tony and this guy, who's a good, worthy adversary, basically. But the problem is that, again, they qualify him in a game theory sense, right? Like, he's killed 12 of our people. So he's very dangerous, he's very capable. So keep that in mind. And we see that in action, how he's, kind of sneaking around himself, doing research on Tony, finds out where he lives, he has a gun held to him, and he doesn't kill him for no reason other than plot armor, right? So again, a game theory reasoning for that would be that Tony's so capable that he's aware, right? He somehow sees him about to shoot him, and he plans for it, or he's just paranoid, he thinks the guy's coming after him, so he'd be more aware and stop it from happening, or something else would stop it from happening, right, where he just didn't have that opportunity, rather than, like, for example, Tony uses a fake name. That would be a game theory reaction. So the guy tracks you down because he's just that capable and smart, but because you're also careful, Tony, you use a fake name in the register, so when he's skimming through, he doesn't realize that you live there, so now you're safe for a while, and you escaped him without knowing that he's even looking for you, because you're just smart enough to use a fake name when you're traveling, in case whatever happens, in case the cops are looking for you for whatever reason, in case a rival is looking for you, or in case a situation like this happens. So you wouldn't have put Tony Soprano, and your daughter could have made fun, like, why are you using a fake name? Oh, it's just because it's just a joke. Like, I use fake names, like Sean Spencer and Gus and Psych, where I just come up with all these random stupid Metusa, Honeysuckle, or whatever the fuck. Right, they always introduce themselves as fake names. So it's just a funny quirk, not that he's doing it for this reason. So that's the point, right? Tony would have gotten a +1 for that kind of game theory element, but he doesn't do that. And because he doesn't do that, right, now this guy knows he lives there, and now he's about to kill him with the gun. So that's the perfect example, actually. So The game theory qualifier is they're both capable people, although I've clowned Tony a little bit. He's killed 12 people, so your reaction to that is not that, I use a fake name when I'm out and about to try to stop such a person from coming after me. So he fails to do that, he has a chance to kill him, and so this is a negative game theory moment, right, when I just posed what the positive one could be. The negative one is the fact that he's about to kill him and he just doesn't. Why? Because there's a witness there. That's kind of arbitrary. Maybe somebody's there. Because the daughter's there, he's soft, even though he's killed 12 people in the past, so he's clearly hard enough to do this. But that is like a plot armor moment for Tony that almost he doesn't deserve any credit for. And even if you want to try to qualify it this way, like, Tony at his best could deal with this guy, but since he's handicapped and hindered by his daughter, he's worried about his daughter's drunk, he's kind of focused on her. So he's not at his best because his daughter is holding him back in this situation. And I won't use that as an excuse for him, really, like, this is the business you've chosen, that kind of thing. But even without that being a factor, okay, fine. Within the game theory of this episode, right, this guy is more capable than him because Tony is compromised by his daughter's presence. So I can accept that. So because he's compromised, he should die right there. He shoots him outside the hotel. But he doesn't do that for whatever reason. Now, one of the other elements that's sort of left hanging that they've introduced in the story, one of the other pieces on the board, if you will, is Chris, who's on the phone saying, I'll come help you, I have a plane ticket booked, etc. Right? So because he's doing that, right, that's sort of left hanging as an element, like an X factor, right? So Chris is the X factor, this guy is the antagonist who's very capable, killed 12 people, and Tony is obviously the main character here, and he is also a capable gangster himself, mafioso himself, but he's compromised and not at his best because of his daughter, so I'll even excuse him that way. But because of that, now you've been in a position where you almost just died because you weren't smart enough to use a fake name, let's say, or have precautions like that, or be more aware, etc., etc. So now the final confrontation happens later, where the guy's outside of his travel agency type thing, right? And so he's sitting there, and now this is a non-game theory moment that's a huge negative. What does Tony do to earn a victory over this highly capable, highly skilled, highly accomplished guy who killed 12 of your people, etc.? What does he do? He just sneaks up on him from behind and chokes him. That is completely garbage nonsense. It's totally undeserving of the way the rest of even this episode itself was written, right? It doesn't do justice to anybody involved. Tony just sneaks up, it just kills him just because he has to, just because that's what the story wants to happen. You had the X factor set up perfectly for this situation. This guy is more capable than Tony because, again, he's compromised by his daughter. He has to work around that, even though in this scene there is no daughter. Just the fact that, he's not at his best, right? We get it. Like, he has to sneak out and he has to come up with an excuse, and it's just kind of distracting him and is causing him to not be at his best, right? So I'm even trying to give Tony the credit of that, but even without that, this guy's just more capable than Tony, even when Tony's at his best, because Tony's just a clown and this guy's just that good, right? You could convince me to believe that, but either scenario, he had to sneak out, he's in a hurry, he's not at his best, he's not fully focused. This guy is at his best and he's fucking, on top of the game. And so the point is that this guy's on the ball, and so he sneaks up on Tony. So, like, the way that scene could have gone, he's at the travel agency, which itself is stupid to go there because now you're isolated by yourself, and he's all paranoid, looking around, looking at a deer and stuff. So that was kind of weird that he goes from the aggressor to now being on the defensive because he missed a chance because, again, Tony has plot armor, or this guy's a clown, even though he's not, because he's proven not to be. So my point with that is, what would happen? Like, Tony would hold him at gunpoint, but then he would escape somehow. He would have, like, some sort of plan or reserve. Like, something would happen in the scene. Like, let's try to rewrite the scene. Right? So far, the point is this guy's been very qualified. Like, it makes sense why he's this capable. They've given his background. You're seeing it in action. He's smart. He finds out where Tony lives. He checks the registers. So he's doing all the right things to earn his victory here, right? He's shown his capability. Tony hasn't done anything. And I'll excuse that, he's distracted by his daughter, whereas Tony at his best wouldn't be like this. But he hasn't done anything. He didn't use a fake name at the register. He wasn't aware enough. He wasn't careful enough. He wasn't safe enough. And then finally, you end up in a situation where the guy had the chance to kill you. He turns it down. So now you have the chance to kill him, let's say, right? So you don't sneak up on him, but it's like, how can I say it? you're trying to sneak up on him, right? You get the jump, you're in the area, but he notices you, like how he notices the sound. So he stays inside the building, and he hears something outside as Tony's trying to sneak around and creep around. So now Tony's trying to sneak in, and Tony ends up in the office. So he got the jump on him, except he didn't, because this guy noticed the sound, right? So he hears Tony outside, right, keep creeping around, and he appears as soon as those two leave. But this guy's smart enough to reverse the situation. So Tony enters the office with a gun held, and then he gets attacked from behind with a gun held at his back, like this guy circled around. He went outside and circled around and snuck up on Tony as Tony was trying to sneak up on him. So it pays respect to both characters. Tony got the one up on him to be able to get to his travel agency because this guy turned down the opportunity to kill him at the hotel. So it gives Tony the opportunity to sneak over there and to get the one up on him. But this guy notices in that moment, as capable as he is, that, I noticed somebody sneaking around, so I circle around, I bait Tony to come in the office, and then I end up behind him with a gun held to his head. Now you introduce the X factor that can be the difference in these two characters' capabilities, because again, they might be relatively even, this guy might be slightly better, and this guy's certainly better given the whole distraction and having to work around the daughter, which is maybe an excuse for why Tony was less alert and more vulnerable in that situation. So it's almost like this guy's honorable. It's not that he felt bad, but he's like, we're both worthy mafiosos, but I want to beat you at your best. So rather than have your daughter be the reason why I beat you because you're distracted by her being drunk and this and that. And so he is holding the gun to Tony's head. He circled him back around. He's that alert. He's that capable. Tony tried his best to sneak in, right, get the one up. So now what happens? Tony's beat. He's going to die. The show is over. So now Chris, the X Factor, who's been laying in wait, has to come into play. And the way that he comes into play is how? He showed up on the plane despite the fact that Tony told him not to, right, of his own volition, and he tracks him down. He figures out what's been going on. He's been doing research into this guy, and so he shows up with the gun held behind him, this guy, and then he kills him, like kind of History of Violence style, the way that the guy, Viggo Mortensen's kid, kills Ed Harris. But that would have been the perfect ending. It was perfectly built out. They had the phone calls. So I think that's a major missed opportunity. Again, doesn't mean that the episode's bad, doesn't mean that the show's bad, but that was a major, that would have been so good. It would have helped develop Chris. It would have helped him make things back up to Tony, who should be more mad at him for the way that he behaved in the last episode. As soon as Jackie died, he's talking shit, yelling at Tony about certain things, even though he didn't know that necessarily. And so what ends up happening is the fact that would have been the perfect game theory ending for that moment. Chris shows up as the X Factor. Tony's been beat by a very capable, accomplished person. It doesn't make Tony look bad because, again, he's been compromised by his daughter, although to some extent it might still make him look bad. And it doesn't make this guy look bad. He looks like a very worthy, scary, capable adversary who you'd remember. Like, wow, he got the one up on Tony. I'll always remember this guy. But Chris shows up, the ultimate X Factor, and he beats him there. He shoots him in the back, right? So you have like a triple gun chain, right? You have a triple gun chain. Tony sneaks in the office and holds his gun at the chair or something, right? It looks like he's there somehow. He's able to, he puts like the hat on the chair or something in a way that it makes it look like he's sitting on it, right? And then Tony holds the gun to the chair. But then you see this guy sneak up behind him because he stuck around and baited him. So then he holds the gun to Tony's head. And then he's about to kill Tony, and then Chris comes out of nowhere, X Factor, and holds a gun to this guy's head. So it'd be like this triple chain. There's like a person of interest meme moment like that, right? Somebody's sitting on the bench, and then they have a gun held to their head, and then the person has another gun held to their head, and then a sniper is holding a gun to that person's head from afar. So it'd be like that kind of moment, the original moment, where, again, you got Tony thinking that he has him, but then, oh no, he got baited because this guy's so smart, and then this guy has Tony beat, has a gun held to his head, but then, oh no, Chris shows up. So that's qualified in a believable way. Like, in other words, Tony really was beat and he really would have died, and the only way that he doesn't die isn't because of dumb luck, it's because of another plotline that was left hanging, where Chris takes the initiative and does something unexpected that even Tony didn't expect, and so now that's an earned victory, or it's an earned outcome that took all your resources available, right? If he didn't do that, you would have died and you would have lost. Instead, no, Tony just sneaks up on this guy from behind and just chokes him because that's what the show wants to happen. That's a really dumb way to end what was a really good episode and a really good rival sort of antagonist figure. So now that I said I wouldn't rant about it, but that's me painting the picture. That's how they should have done it. Otherwise, it was a good episode, and I like that character a lot, whose name I didn't even really commit to memory because he's using a fake name, so whatever. This very capable guy, nonetheless. It's been really hard for me to actually catch people's names because, I don't know, it's just, they're not saying them a lot, or there's too many to keep track of. We got, obviously, Tony, Carmela is his wife, Chris, Meadow, I think, is one of his daughters, right, and then, whatever, you got the young boy who found out that he's in the mob, finally. So we're starting in 3, 2, wait, how long is this episode? Some of these episodes are like various lengths, like this might be too long even. Whatever, I mean, I'm doing it anyway. So we're starting in 3, 2, 1, go. HBO Max logo obviously there. We get the little intro. Again, I always prefer when they show a scene before the intro, but it's okay. You know, it's almost like how a sitcom would do it. They'd have the opening punchline. So here, either they could do that, or they could have, like, I think episode 2 had that, where they were quoting all the gangster movies, talking around the TV, watching some documentary on mobsters or something, right? And then the intro plays, kind of like that. Yeah, this is basically like Goodfellas, the TV show, because they have some of the actors recycled in there. One thing I don't like is the presence of the therapist. She's been overused. It started off cool as a little gimmick in the first episode, fine. That's how you introduce to the audience some of the backstory and the characters and stuff, like about Tony and all that. But now it's getting a little bit tired. I don't want to see a therapy session every episode. That's like, you could say it wasn't as much of a cliche then as it is maybe in stories now, but, 1999, but still, I don't like how they're overusing that, and the therapist is pretty smart, but they're going to have an affair maybe later. Maybe she's going to turn him in later. I didn't think she'd become such a mainstay character. I thought she'd just be a guest actor in the first episode and maybe like 1 or 2 random episodes here and there. But she's like a major, major recurring character, which is, I don't agree with that decision. I wouldn't have done that. Or at least, okay, hold it back. Every 10 episodes, some major event happens and then he has to go to therapy. But they're doing it Anya Taylor-Joy, the first, but obviously not. But I would have held that back and used it every 10 episodes, not every single episode, the way they're doing it. And he's stalking her with the guy is like, whatever, he has a guy tailing her. You won't tell him, but then you expect him to know what you expect. And he is kind of into her nonetheless. This guy seems pretty smart. Good line, actually. Your shirt's wrinkled, buy yourself an iron. But he is actually into her. See, there was subtext in that line. Has he shown up lately? Because he does really care about that element. He's into her. There's that. Changing the subject. You were referred by Dr. Cusimano. Oh, you chose. That's a better laugh than we got out of a fucking sitcom the other day. Because that's her job. Something went wrong. Are you fucking serious with this fucking thing, dude? The setup is so cursed. I've been trying to do it like where, I don't pause, so the timestamp is going to be accurate and everything will be fine. Also, dude, come on, man. And now we won't even have time to do it. Are you fucking serious? So now it'll be like 3 in a row that we have to do in 2 sections. Right, like in 2 episodes because I like to do it in one shot for most of these. Pay $16.99 for HBO Max for ad-free experience. Also, it still shows ads at the beginning of series. Also, it still fucks up in this way. But no, it's kind of like, maybe she's into him, maybe he's into her. Like, he almost wants to hear that sort of validation, but... Okay, hang on, I have to reset something. She's like either some sort of spy who's actually in on it, like where she wants to get more info about him, or she's just curious, or she's just tolerant, she's just that smart, she knows it's just patient-client confidentiality, maybe she likes you. There's so many different theories. That might end up being what the twist is. She's actually a mole who you were sent to, even though you were given the choice. That's the first time we heard that he was given the choice. But you were sent to her, I'm coming up with like some sort of conspiracy theory, you were sent to her to try to get information on you, and you're dumb enough to actually give that information, and so therefore she's actually a mole, and this is all part of the plan to try to catch you somehow. So we're starting from, I can't even tell what we're at, I can't even see. I'm going to assume it's 45:22. So we're minus 45:22 in 3, 2, 1. Not to make eye contact with me is the line. And she's not flinching now either. So there is something going on there, but I don't think she really liked him. I think he's been into her more so. Or she liked that one moment where he got her a table, like in the first episode at a restaurant. So he's both... There's like a -3. What the fuck? What's going on here? Like... He's weak enough to go to therapy, then he's into his therapist. Oh, good, I like this. He's putting his foot down. Hyman Roth in the flesh. Buried. He always talks in ominous innuendo. Drugs is a dirty business, The Godfather. Too much information. This is a Godfather moment. Is he going to be Chris or somebody somehow? I don't even know how. But it's like... It's, fuck. An analogy to the... Tony's kid... Yeah, he's way smarter than that. What was I saying? It's an analogy for the kid of Tony taking speed, though, that moment with the kid dying. Yeah, I believe that. Junior is on fire. He's giving him like the stuff that he can use against. He takes it his own way. But wait. Or maybe she's smart enough. She's smart enough to know what she's implying, or... But he just openly said he's the new boss. That's not a cool moment. That's almost a -1 there. You don't say you're the boss. They know you're the boss, dude. What you have is a situation... Fuck. Now that's some good innuendo. But he's always taking what she says to mean something else, or... You know, she's going to let slip stuff that he can use against Tony. So they were fighting over the phone, Tony and his Russian mistress. I assume this is the same person. We haven't seen her too much to know. Oh, good line. Inferiority complex. Of course, this is all part of their role play. Some mob boss you are. Burned you in more ways than one, am I right? Chris has a certain swag, but he's also too hot-headed sometimes. But he still had more composure than that clown Brendan, who kind of got what he deserved. So he's going to tax Hesh. But how does that help him? Like, it sends a message, I guess? I don't really get it. You tax him because Tony respects him. Now let's see how he deals with it, Tony. Deal with this and you get a character point. Oh, he knew that he would leave. So he's doing it to push him out of town because Tony respects him so much. Now you're the one who let Junior be the boss. So on one hand, it gives you credibility to talk to him like you're going too far, but on the other hand, it makes you look bad, like you're the reason why this is happening to your own people. So there's a good dynamic. This whole Junior thing is the lifeblood of the show. Like, this guy is so good at setting up such a good conflict dynamic. I don't want him to be beaten or die before like the 6th season. This dude is really good. This is like the Godfather 2 guilty pleasure. Like, you get a longer rivalry between Hyman Roth and this and Michael. Not that Tony is even close to Michael's level of intelligence or anything. Look at his stupid fucking face there. Yeah, this is a good time to talk at least. The one thing that guy says is so everything Junior says is like so well written. It's innuendo, like they want to be buried in their jogging suits. Now when a mob boss says that could mean something else, or when he's talking to the mother, you know. What, do you take some Viagra or something? So what you have is or he's dreaming again. He had that one dream about the therapist. So he takes whatever the mother means to mean something, like, you know, he takes it some other way. So either she is smart enough or he's just reading into it, hearing what he wants to hear. See, look how he's bowing before Junior. He's still, and this is all part of Junior's plan. He knew he would leave, therefore leaving Tony, because I was even questioning that. Taxing him will only make him upset. It won't make him stop supporting Tony the way that Tony respects him, but it'll make him leave because he knew about the record label or something like that. And so he's actually a genius, and he knew that his rate was unreasonable, but he'll still get the rate that he wanted. He just asked for higher, so they know they would compromise with it. So after Tony's gambit here, he's going to still get what he originally wanted, but he just raised it to make it seem like they're getting what they want. This dude, Junior, is going to be the GOAT, dude. Maybe I'm building him up a little too much, but he seems like that kind of guy. Everything he does has like a double meaning, and, you know. Like, Tony thinks he's being all sly, he can't know, but he knows everything. Cheating on you with that chick from much before. Work follows him everywhere, even when he's going to show his daughter colleges, so you can't feel too bad about that. Even though I just cheated on you with the Russian whore. That's what you get for the big house. It's a compromise. Not the fact that he's a mobster, but the fact that he's busy with work and stressed. Yeah, that whole fight with Chris is totally forgotten about. So Tony is a fair man in that way. I always give him credit for his humility. He's not riding on that point that he talked shit. You have self-esteem. Skeeve, what does that even mean? But we just saw that he had it up with the other girl. Or no, he was still struggling with that. Yeah, this is a suited conflict for Tony. He's got big enough balls to be the boss. He can't even bust a nut anymore. He can't do nothing, dude. He can't do anything. She's setting boundaries because she's feeling attracted to him or something. Now he'll offer to help with the car emergency, with his car contacts, like how he found the teacher found the teacher's car. Car salesman, right? The worst kind of people, says the mobster, probably should be the line. Is this a real side effect of Prozac? I don't even know. You probably had trouble with that to begin with. She's too opened up to him. You don't look serious. You look like a clown to me. Morning wood. That's a mental, psychological problem. You have a mental block of some kind. To do with your wife specifically, or he wants the therapist now so he can't get hard for anybody else, even though they're showing him respect. Look at Junior. Look at him. Look at him, dude. Look at him. Sipping the drink, dude. This dude knows what he's doing. He's no. He deserved this position. So now he'll look like the hero for going down on it. You're really pushing it. You really think you're gonna haggle? Oh, he's being fair. See, he looks good for that. Look at Junior go, dude. Look at him go, bro. I'm gonna be fair though. See if he fucks up. Like, where did he fuck up? Saying he's the boss. It's not enough to warrant a -1, but I question that. Don't say you're the boss. We know you're the boss. You deserve to be the boss. You show that you're the boss. But this character is going to be the icon of the show. Forget about Tony Soprano. Junior is where it's at. He's not Junior. He's Major. Am I right? That could be my title for this episode. He's not Uncle Junior. He's not Junior. He's Major. Or something like that. You wake up in the middle of the night. You want sex. That's relationship goals. That's the first thing she asks. Fuck. But he's been having trouble getting it up even with the girl, right? Even... You want to role play? Like the therapist. That's the only thing I can think of. He wants you to look like the therapist, I guess. They have these weird fights that are actually pretty funny. What's the plotline of this episode, though? Like, he's fucking around with his limp dick, and then he's also Junior's taxing, but where's the other... He can't, though. That's the problem. Like, you can't actually... They don't really have a subplot line. Now he's lying, saying Carmela did it, probably. Yeah. Actually, you said dress like... Dressing like you. Just... This is when you get a new therapist. Send him to a new therapist, I mean. Okay. What the fuck? What the fuck are you doing, bro? Or is she being innuendo as well? She seems like she's not into this. I would change the therapist in a heartbeat, though, or change my patient to another therapist. That's fucking bullshit, dude. This guy's desperate for his therapist that he shouldn't even be going to, that he could be leaking information to. They could be a spy. They could be, that he's having stalked around, whether it's because he's into her, whether it's because he's afraid he leaked something, that she might leak it to her therapist. Like, this dude is clowning up hardcore. That's the theme of this episode. Tony is a clown, but we already knew that, dude. He's no match for Junior, but he'll have plot armor like he did against that last episode. But no, I'll be just as harsh on anybody the same way. Yeah, why do we care so much about this therapist's personal life? And it's only because of this whole infatuation that Tony has. Hey, I'm somebody who's into psychology myself. I'm into that kind of intelligent girl. And actually, this is the chick who plays the wife in Goodfellas, right? So I don't know why I still can't tell that. Like, she looks different because of her garb and stuff, but it's obviously her. Her voice is the same. But she's much more attractive here than there because she's actually smart. Imagine that. But she at least plays a character who is smart. Maybe Tony fixed... Tony did it without her knowing. Oh, that's what they were doing at night. So he's getting friends with benefits with a mob boss. Yeah, this is what I mean. She likes that. Yeah, see, Junior's not as soft. That's an awesome line. If you could fly, I won't shoot you down. But you landed in the water, so you could survive that maybe. But you have, she liked the perk of like, oh, he got me a table. He got me front of line in that restaurant. So now I like the fact that he fixed my car for me. I like the fact that this and that. But she might connect the fact that he was also the one who had her boyfriend beat up and stalking like that. Just like the last time, right? He jumped. So what is the plot line of this episode, though? I'm missing it. Just his libido is the subplot, I guess. So Tony's very cool about it, but I would have expected it. I called it. another Goodfellas cast member, right? That's the guy who asks for his own restaurant, whatever, to Paulie. Give me a piece of the restaurant, that guy. You get the whole fucking Goodfellas cast in here at one point or another. Where's Robert De Niro? Where's everybody else? There's some really good things about this show, but it's sort of spaced out. Like, it's not always good, but this episode is, like, plotless, though. It's just... the libido is okay, but then, like, Junior is not a subplot, though. He's the main, like, he's the background plot that would be, like, going on for the whole show. So that's not enough to constitute an episode, though. Like, Hesh and stuff, that should be in the background of something else. See, last episode was a banger compared to this because you had the... She seems like she's doing better, though, at least. And she's just accepted the... better men than him, huh? Show me one. Show me one in this whole show. Now they're using the mother as a go-between. Every time he listens, though, he ends up doing something you don't like. Oh, I like this. Taking a stand. This was a bad episode, though. There was nothing interesting here. You shouldn't rely on the Junior. You got Carmela subplot, you got Tony's libido. This is like a filler episode. Like, what? Give me a gimmick, like the last episode with the guy. He wants to really cheat, but he is cheating on you, but with the Russian. He's trying to cheat with the therapist, right? He's trying to, but he can't because she's too classy for that. Really trying to walk across from your chair to hers and kiss her. That is a cuck move. Suits somebody who has trouble getting a fucking erection. You're a cuck. That's all you need to say. That's not a gift, it's a service. Yeah, you're taking right stand here. I beat up your boyfriend because I fucking am jealous clown stalker. Be honest, yeah, say that one. I beat your fucking boyfriend up, although it wasn't what you wanted. What the fuck is this cuck job? Tony's as pathetic as this episode is. You fucking dumb clown. You were supposed to not even go to therapy in the first place. So get a new therapist and fuck this clown. No, let me end here, actually. So we end off with like 10 minutes left or whatever, so that's fine. I can watch that, whatever, for like a recap sort of a thing. Damn it, I hate splitting these episodes like that, though. Right, I keep wanting to do it in one shot. And we even had to pause it somewhere in the middle there, because why? It wasn't even because the setup fucked up, it was because the HBO Max fucked up for the first time. Where it just said something's wrong, and then I had to stop it, and it's just annoying to have to worry about that. But no, this has been like the weakest episode so far, because I'm sort of searching, even though I make fun of those plot lines, like, oh, you're searching for the teacher's car, right? Give us something that feels like a new, fresh plot, at least, even if it's not that good. Like, episode 5 was great, where it's like, you know, this guy is a decorated killer of mob people. He killed 12. I don't know if they said he killed them or if he put them away, like he snitched to put them away. But either way, he took care of 12 of your guys, and he's capable enough to take you out in his sleep. But I guess he just took sympathy on you because you had your daughter there. Okay, so today I'm going to be watching the ending, the final 10 minutes or so of Season 1, Episode 6 of The Sopranos, and so this has been arguably the weakest episode. I think the other one I said was the weakest was like a sub-B episode. Most of them have gotten B. Nothing has gotten an A, actually, as a standout. Episode 5 could have if they followed the game theory that I had pointed out, that I won't go into again, but basically whatever. Just if Chris had come to save him, and if they had paid respect to both characters instead of just having him randomly sneak up behind him, which is not a very satisfying ending to what was really a good antagonistic character, even if he was meant to be only for that one episode, he was still a good character. And then, but no, episode 3, despite the good ending with Junior doing the hit on Brendan and threatening Chris, that was a very cool ending for that. The overall episode didn't have that much substance or anything going for it. And then this episode even more so. Like, they always have these subplots, but either they're not interesting or they feel like filler, like, oh, they're looking for the teacher's car or something. So the problem with this one is, what was the subplot? Like Junior taxing Hesh and stuff like that. That's good as a background thing, but where is the actual plot of the episode? Nothing happened. Like, we're seeing a bit to do with Junior, we're seeing a bit to do with the mother, and Tony's having problems with his erectile dysfunction stuff, and he's having problems with now he's in total clown mode. That'll be the name of this episode when I upload it. Like, Tony goes full clown mode because he's fucking saying I love you to the therapist and stuff like this. So we got to look at the levels. Let me review my character point system stuff a little bit, and then we'll do whatever. But no, this episode seemed like it had no plot line to it. You could say the Junior thing is like main story, main plot line, but there's nothing else going on. I can't even remember, like, what happened. It starts off, Junior said he's going to tax the guy. It's showing you a little bit to do with Junior, but that's fine. Even as somebody who, clearly, I've liked Junior as a character and I appreciate him, the problem is that you can't lean on that fully. Like, there's no other story going on with this. It's completely negligible. So, I don't get it. Right, you need something with a little more substance than that, and if you can do that, then you're in a position where basically, yeah, let's review the character points. So the character point system is going to be as follows, with respect to, Tony was at a -3. Some of these characters are kind of negligible to me, like the wife is just a -1 million, whatever, I could care less about her. Chris is a nice, even neutral, because every time he does something bad, he does something good to make up for it, right? So he's a perfect example. He gets a little hot-headed, like, for example, he he robs the first truck from Junior. That's a negative. But then he doesn't do the second one and tries to stop the other guy, but he doesn't listen. So that's okay. That evens it out. He admits it to Tony. He calls Tony and tells him. Then he flies off the handle and is mad at Tony or whatever. But he doesn't know that Jackie died, so that's not really his fault. And so the one really negative is the fact that he sells the drugs to the kid, right? That he should not have done. But no, he's pretty much neutral, let's say. It's hard for me to keep track of these. But Tony was at a -3, and he was almost getting to a -2. And so now he's going to go instead to a -4. Because let's go back to his hallmark moment from episode 5. From episode 4. He's humble enough, he hands the reins to Uncle Junior, and not only is he humble enough, and that makes him look good on the surface level, but he even is better because, he still maintains a lot of his control, even though he might live to regret that, and he already kind of is with the taxing of Hesh and stuff. The fact of the matter is, that was a really good moment for him. He hands off the reins to Junior, he makes peace with him, he also is in a position where he's able to basically, like I said, he still thinks he's sort of playing Junior a bit. He uses the therapist's advice there a bit to say, we make him think he's in control, but really he's not, give them the illusion of control. He doesn't use that on his mother as much as the advice is being given for, but he tries to use it on Junior, which, of course, Junior's too smart and sly for that to really happen. But, so yeah, he was at a -3, pushing a -2, looking good, but then now he goes in the other direction. He's a -4 now, and let's look at why this therapy thing has hurt him so much, right? Number one is a negative at the beginning, just the fact that he's in therapy, right, at all. Number two is the fact that he doesn't use, fake names and whatever, analogy as much. He maybe started off doing that, but then he started to just say, my first body was here, my first crime was here, so you're dumb enough, you got to go to therapy, that you're fragile enough, then you're going to admit real things to her, then you're going to become a nutcase, paranoid, and stalk her, right, and then you're going to get obsessed with her, and now you actually like her. So there's so many layers to it, where the -4 could be that from that alone, right, although it's for other things too, but let's just look at the therapy on itself. -1 that you go to therapy, -1 that you don't disguise what you're talking about in therapy, -1 that you become a basket case, paranoid, try to stalk her, even though you would have known from the beginning that she could be potentially leaking the stuff. Then number 4 is the fact that you fall in love with her, whatever, as well. So that's horrible by him, total clown behavior. Now let's look at Junior at least. These are the main 3 characters, I guess. Chris, Tony, and Junior that I would care about doing. Again, the Carmela, I don't really care too much. Most of these other characters, that whole part of episode 5, even though the sort of subplot line there that I'm saying is really strong, right? We come off one of the strongest subplot lines with the whole, this assassin guy who took out 12 of your people, right? That whole thing ongoing, even though you're just going looking for college. It feels like, it's a filler episode, but that was at least a good character to have. Now we go from that to one of the worst ones, or just none. There's nothing going on in this episode as far as a main plot for the mob or something. Again, the taxing is really not enough to substantiate that. And so Uncle Junior's conflict is perfect in the background as a subplot of the whole story. Just that might be a rivalry that starts to turn into something else, and they really, they both think they're playing each other and this and that. But the whole big point is that that we went from one of the best subplot lines like that to one of the worst, or just none at all. So yeah, the wife with the priest and all that, all those scenes just sort of mean nothing to me. The kids beating each other up in the hallway, you might say it adds to the story or the drama of the characters a little bit, but it just doesn't really do much for me. I didn't really care about it too much, right? So some of it is just objectively bad, where it's not really adding much to the story and almost feels like filler, or just whatever, is totally inconsistent and nobody cares. But some of it maybe is just my preference, that I don't find that interesting in a story where you have all these other good things going on. You can say it doesn't have to be the mob all the time, but when that is the draw of the show, you know what I mean? If you want to just see modern family drama and stupid stuff like that, you can always do it. It was at least a good segue to see that's how he discovered what his dad actually does, right? Because then he's wondering, why did he just back off? not because of you, but because of whatever, your family. As if they wouldn't have known that, like, in the first place. Like, I wonder what exactly happened to them. So the whole fire on the restaurant thing hasn't been brought up, again, since the beginning. And then the other point is, like, okay, so Junior would be a situation in which you're able to look at his point system, and I don't remember this one quite as well, but basically he'd be probably around like a +2 right now. And so we go through from the beginning. His general demeanor and disposition is a +1. He's intelligent, he's calm, he's careful, all that. So just his attributes that he displays on a regular basis. So that's a +1 there. Then another +1 is how he even duped me with this like old man facade that in the first episode I didn't think he was all that powerful, right? But he just gives out that vibe on purpose, like the Quercus Alba kind of thing, Hyman Roth. Like, you seem like this old, frail man, but he's actually, much more powerful and much more ruthless than that. So that's a 2-point thing. Then one that kind of equalizes itself out is the mother, how he uses the mother. He respects her opinion. He kind of takes it as innuendo. That this is kind of a great writing technique of the series. That's maybe one of the strongest points, is that he'll go to talk to the mother out of respect. He cares what she thinks, things like that, sort of deferring to the mother. So that would be a good +1, but then it's also a negative because he sort of exploits her a little bit for information, finding out Tony's weaknesses, maybe like to tax Hesh, that he knows that, he respects Hesh so much that he's going to go at him to try to get to Tony and things like that. But the bigger point here is the fact that so those almost balance each other out, that it might be a negative that, he's like taking advantage of her. It's like, is the mother really smart enough to know what she's saying, or she just seems senile? I can't really tell. I'm leaning towards she is just senile. She doesn't know what's going on, but Uncle keeps giving her credit, like, she's almost giving me permission to do this. So everything she says in passing, like, he likes Hesh, now I'm going to tax Hesh, or, Brendan's a bad kid, so I'm going to kill him. Like, he takes it to an extreme where, I'm surprised they didn't have that conversation. Oh, poor Brendan, like the mother knowing that he's dead or something. But yeah, whatever is said, he takes it to an extreme. So that's the whole, like, innuendo of a gangster talking. He can say something so seemingly simple and innocent. Like, it happened even in this episode where he's saying, like, there was something else, I can't remember. He said some line like that, but whatever. Like, you speak an innuendo or analogy to the extent that you're able to really have value there. So with the mother, whether she knows or not what she's doing, it is an interesting dynamic. So that's both a plus and a minus. One, that you're kind of taking advantage of it, but another that you're sort of showing respect and deferring, and another that you're sort of taking whatever she says and interpreting it how you want, right? She's not saying kill Brendan, but yet you're taking it that way. You're taking it almost as her permission. That, like, she's telling you what to do. She's saying it's okay to do it, even though she's really not, right? She has no idea what she's saying, I don't think. But even Junior was giving her credit there, like, you're smarter than what you know. And then she says, I don't know what you're talking about. I think that is Junior just sort of putting it on, like, whatever. But generally he's positive. Now, there was one borderline negative. There was something he said in that scene where he's sitting with the mother that I can't remember. He's saying, like, he said, like, in the previous scene too, like, these guys want to be buried in their suits. Like, that's kind of a menacing line too. But what did he say to the mother? I might almost have to rewatch that scene before I watch the last 10 minutes. He said something there that kind of stood out to me. But anyway, the point is that the one negative he's done now is he calls himself the boss, right? He says he's the boss to her, right, now that I'm the boss. That shouldn't be something that you say. If you're the boss, you don't need to show it. So that was kind of uncharacteristic and showy, and also in the same sense why this is a -1 for him. Both saying that he's the boss like that to the mother, openly like that. The real boss wouldn't need to say it, you would just know. And then also flaunting his power a little bit too soon, too much, like trying to tax Hesh and all that. So that would be the -1. But see, whenever he makes a -1, there's a deeper element to it. Or maybe I'm just giving him too much credit. So now you take that to say, well, yes, he's being a little flaunting his power, but then also when he goes to tax him, he asks for a higher rate, and then he settles for a lower one. So it makes it seem like, oh, I'm doing you a favor, I'm being reasonable. So in other words, he's still sort of playing the game and doing it the right way. And the reason why that happens is because of the simple fact that, you know, he's still doing it with some sort of other intention behind it, right? He's doing it as a message to Hesh, and even that could be a deeper understanding. Like, I even question it. Why would taxing Hesh make him go away or make him less useful to Tony? It would just turn him against you and make him, you know, upset. But he knew that he has his record labels. Maybe, I may be extrapolating. So he knows he would leave and then leave Tony behind, and then Hesh is no longer there to help Tony. So you pushed him out by doing this unreasonable tax rate on one hand. So again, you tax him to try to prove your power, show your power, which is a negative one that you're doing it. But then it's a plus one for these reasons, that you're either smart enough to know that Hesh is going to get upset and he has other options, that he's going to leave, and then Tony's left high and dry without him, somebody that he looks up to, so you push him out by taxing him, right, indirectly, or you say, well, we're going to ask for an unreasonable rate, and now we'll get one that we want anyway, so we ask high, and then they haggle with you, and then you settle for something lower, and you make it seem like you're doing them a favor, right, when you're still getting like a net positive. So in both senses, that kind of evens itself out, that even when he does something seemingly bad, and I do question it, calling himself the boss and you know, flaunting his power a little bit too much too early, I still think he manages to do it in a way that still benefits him and is still effective, right? Like it still kind of worked out to his benefit. So seeing him sipping the cup in that moment, he always does that as like a characterization. When he's talking to Tony in episode 4, and Tony's about to give him the reins, but he's talking about the Sopranos have been waiting a long time, so he doesn't know whether he wants to take power himself, Tony, or whether he's giving it to Junior, or what he's doing. Junior doesn't say anything. He just takes a sip out of his cup and lets Tony keep talking, right? So it can be very menacing or just very, you know, sort of calm and collected. My thing's flopping all over the place. So he does it there, and then he does it again here, like when they're in the meeting and they're all talking and discussing how much this percentage is too high, blah, blah, blah. You know, Tony's got to give 2%, this and that. When he's doing that, when they're all doing that, he doesn't say anything. He's just sitting back listening and drinking out of his cup. So that's like a cool alpha thing to do. Like, I'm the one in control. I don't need to say anything. You know, I'm just listening. I'm observing. So that's a cool calculating sort of characterization that he has. And so the only one other thing is that man, why is this happening so much right now? My thing won't stay in one place. The point is that we want to see almost that scene again, right? So I'll watch that scene again before I actually start the thing, for real. Okay, so here I'm going to continue from minus 1150, which means there's, you know, 1150 remaining in the episode. They're sitting talking about whatever, him giving her gifts or something like this, so we didn't get to finish it the last time. So obviously, I hate splitting it up like this, but some of these episodes are longer. I sometimes start a little late, or I do, you know, with the intro and stuff, it can get a little difficult. So basically, he's telling her, in what is a truly clownable moment, he's telling her that he loves her in a second here. Not right now. I think they'll talk for a little bit, but this is a really surprisingly disappointing, stupid moment. The fact that you're even in therapy, the fact that you had her followed, now you're getting to profess your love to her, you're having some kind of issue with your libido, like a lot of shit is going wrong. So my prediction is I don't think she's into him at all, but she did like those sort of perk moments, like getting the table, getting ahead in line, and getting her car fixed, even though she was kind of freaked out about that. But that's what they're about to talk to now. So I'll start in 3, 2, 1 from 1150. We had an agreement, no gifts, that was the line. So he tried to kiss you last week too, and you didn't fucking do anything. So like she should have gotten rid of him sooner. I don't like this whole thing of stretching out the therapist this much, because here we go, I love you. So fucking stupid. This is the most ridiculous clown behavior. I see, I've been clowning him the whole time, but I didn't know he'd be this much of a clown. She's pretty on point, but I mean... You want to pretend like you're a man, but this is not how you meet women. That's not what Freud said, dude. That's not what he said, but... Fuck. He's so fucking stupid. Yeah. I wouldn't want... No, she should... Every time he storms out, she comes back. She's smart enough to know that was him. Has someone been following me? She knows, but he won't admit it. Like the cop who obviously was pretending to be a cop or whatever, his investigator guy. We get a lot of Junior in this episode. Fuck. He's not so stupid that he doesn't get the analogy. But Tony has a right to say this because he's the one who gave... He still consoles with him, though. I think of them as rivals, but they have a good relationship still. And he's very perceptive. But that's at Tony's advice. I doubt that's what gave him the cancer, but I like Tony's humility in that way, though. He doesn't want to be the figurehead. He doesn't want that. He's not in it for that, but nobody knows what the fuck he is in it for. He's in love with the fucking therapist. And the therapist seems like she's not into him, but she's intrigued by him. A lot of innuendo in this episode, or sexual references. Freud is everywhere. Make everybody happy? You made this decision, though. But no, I was defending Tony there a little bit. That he's the one who gave Junior the job, so at least Junior can be respectful and listen. Right, that you should be fair, blah, blah, blah. But see, Junior's smart enough, pragmatic, he's doing it to save face, not because he actually... Junior is like something special in writing. Like, this is a rare character, and I'll watch that conversation with the mother again. But let's watch this stupid Carmela. He wants there to be, though, so that makes it worse. Fuck. He's so fucking clown, dude. Tony goes full clown the episode. This has been, like, I predicted this in a way. Not exactly that, but... but get a male therapist so you don't fall in love with her. What kind of fucking scene is this? Because I was jealous. Why is the therapist thing such a big part of the fucking plot? So let's role-play therapy. I'll be your therapist from now on. You are my life. Good one, dude. You can do the canned line. What are you, Christopher Nolan in The Dark Knight Rises, dude? You came back to die with your city. No, I came back to stop you. Instead of, I came back to save it, would have at least been more appropriate. For fuck's sake, dude. We've seen the more Junior in this. What is this about now? I mean, Junior's already been crowned, so he can't be about that. John. Oh, just... Wait, this is like, what song is this? This is the song that plays in all the Scarface montages. What is the song? Is it from this, or is it something else? All I have in this world is my balls and my word, but Junior deserves it. No, I think this is just a song that they're using here, right? Yeah, the police have to adjust to this new structure. You're not going to catch fucking Junior, dude. You know who this guy is, bro? They've written him so well, dude. So fucking well. This is whether he's an antagonist, whether he's an ally, whether he's anything, dude. This guy is a good character. Unlike Tony the Clown, who, again, he's not terribly written, but it's more just like I hold these characters to a high standard. Like, I can't believe this is what that music is from, or at least it's featured here. Capo. But how do they know the... Wait, what? Oh, boss, I see. Like, Capo Regime is like the, you know, Clemenza and Tessio, the right hands. Wait, what did it say over Tony? I almost got to see that. I got to look at this board more in detail. What is this song, though? I got to know it. This show has solved a lot of mysteries for me, like... Or there's like a lot of in references, like it's basically Goodfellas, the TV show. Why? Because it has to do with the mob? No, because it has to do with all the actors from that specifically. So let me try to go back. That's basically the end of the episode. Let me try to go back and see that board a little more in clarity, so we can see what did it say for Tony. Is Tony a Kappa regime now, off the boss, or what? I can't see what it fucking says. Yeah, we get to really listen to this music and enjoy it. But no, I've seen that in like 100 of those Scarface type montages where he says like a badass line and then it plays that. Which of course you know it's not from Scarface, but what happened? God damn it. But we wanted to watch the dinner scene too. But no, that was actually maybe the worst episode of the whole thing, of the whole show. Oh my god, dude. Okay, my thing's just not working at all, so I don't know what the fuck. The point is, nothing really happened in the episode. As much as I like Junior as a character and he's good, they relied on him too much, and it was too much, there was nothing really happening. All that stuff that's happening in the background, like, oh, he's taxing somebody, and oh, he's sharing it, and all this kind of stuff, like, that's cool, but that's not the plot of the episode. You need something more happening, even if I sometimes make fun of those things, like the, trying to torture the guy till he divorces his wife, or trying to find the teacher's car. Like, give me something more to work with. Like this is a lot of just character stuff, character development. I feel like that would be a modern technique that you see a lot in these shows too. Like, you can have a story where it's just like you're so invested in the characters, and maybe they're so well written at times that that's all you focus on. So like Breaking Bad, oh, what's Walter White up to today? Not that anything is really happening. Like, oh, he's having a fight with his wife, or now his kids are misbehaving. Like, there is no real plot, like something, like an overarching, like, okay, this rival gangster is trying to kill him, and he's trying to outsmart him, and like this sort of back and forth thing that you could have, for example, with Junior and Tony. But that's not, they kind of are doing that, though, sort of game theory stuff. So that was actually a +1 for Tony, though, the way it was at his advice. It was at his, so he gets a -1 and then a +1. So he was back to -4, now he's back to -3. Because the +1 is the way he convinced Junior to do that. And like I said, he has every right to try to do that because he's the one who gave him the okay to be boss in the first place. And I guess that party was just sort of formalizing it, but he's already been the boss for a little bit. And then you have, it's very interesting how they've written it this way. This is almost how I would have written it. Like, whatever they're doing with Junior is going to end up being the final boss of the show, right? The final thing that Tony has to overcome. So he created a monster, maybe, but they're going to wait, hold it off, or maybe not. Maybe he's not. See, it's not that, oh, I think he's a bad guy, although he has some incredible capabilities. It's that I'm so impressed with him as a character that I would want to see him be the villain, right? Like, I sometimes say that in detective stories or games or shows or something, like, I wanted it to be you. Not because I don't like you, but because I do like you. I think, oh wow, how cool would it be if this guy was the villain, right? Instead of, like with the Red John suspects or something, I wanted it to be Brett Stiles, because that would have been so cool, because he's like, Malcolm McDowell, and he's a good, smart character, instead of just basically what felt like almost a random character, right, that didn't feel as deserved. So I'd like to check out these two parts, but it's kind of hard for me to navigate this thing as I'm doing it. But yeah, Junior's whole writing around him is pretty good, but that was a good moment where, Tony's giving him advice and saving Junior, honestly, some face, giving him a good idea, and Junior listens, so he's reasonable, but it's a good +1 for Tony, so that's a -3. Right, and it would be -2, but he fucked up by saying I love you to the therapist and being such an ultimate clown. Like, look how he's talking to the wife there. Like, what kind of clown behavior is this? You're apologizing like, oh, I'm sorry, I should have told you it's a female. Also, I just told her I loved her today, and so you're disappointed, like, oh, there's nothing there. Yeah, there's nothing there, but you wanted there to be something there. So what if she said, yeah, I love you too, and then let's have sex right here in the office, and it's like, oh, you would have been fine with it. Like, you're such a degenerate clown that I don't feel bad for you. It's up to you. This is the business, this is the life that you've chosen, so you basically are in a position where you're able to, like, nobody feels bad about that. Like, if the wife leaves you, even though the wife is a bit of a clown too, right? So Tony's at a nice -3. Junior, I think I owe him like 1 point for something. I had said for his demeanor and for fooling me into the old guy vibe, right? That's a +2, but the +1, and then killing Brendan and everybody and Chris while also getting the truck as reparations, that's kind of a +1 because he gets one up on Tony. So that's like a +3. Then the -1 is how he's flaunting being the boss, but then that's equalized by, again, the fact that he's willing to listen to Tony here, and also the fact that he was willing to sort of play everybody and say, I'm asking for an unreasonable amount, now I seem like a good guy for lowering it or giving some back. So he ends up really at a solid +3, right, whereas Tony's at a -3, so that's my own little character point system going. Most of the other characters I don't care about. Chris is at a nice even 0, but he's kind of teetering on going in the minus, because he has been a little headstrong a bit too often, and every time we see him, like, he must be doing other good stuff off screen, right, that everybody respects him and is willing to listen to him like that, but he's not actually able to do it in such a way that he's sometimes too hot-headed on screen. So if you just go by that, it wouldn't be that impressive, really. So let me see if I can't do anything with that. So I want to see two things. I want to see what does it say on the board for everybody, and I want to see one other thing, like what does it say on or what was the scene with Junior and the mom again? I would like to see that. But yeah, generally this was a weak episode because it didn't have like a strong narrative plot line to it, aside from all these little things that feel ultimately like subplots that should be in the background. There wasn't really anything at all, right? Tony going to the therapist is being way overdone. Like in the first episode, I even said, oh, this is a cute little way to introduce the story. But also, I didn't realize it was going to be the story or a major part of it. Like, you're going there so often, and you kind of gaslighted her now, Carmela, into thinking that, oh, she's helping me, she's doing a good thing. But it's like, it doesn't make sense because it's actually the opposite. Like, you're actually in love with her or something. And it's like, I don't like her reaction to that either, Melfi, where she's like, actually that answers the question too. She's like, is someone following me? Well, how the fuck would he know where you live to be able to steal your car if somebody wasn't following you? So they followed you for that purpose at least, right? To steal the car and to fix it. Or maybe they stole it from the workplace. But no, you heard her at night. Listening to the sounds outside, right? Of them fucking with the car and then either putting it back or something. So it would have been at her house, right, that happened. So the names of these episodes are pretty nondescript too, like Pax Soprano, and then like Meadowlands was 4, and then that other one was like just College, number 5. So they're not really, I'm not missing out on much. Let's see, what the hell does it say for Tony? That's all I want to see. Capo becomes boss. I keep missing it somehow. The stupid overlay if this keeps blocking it. And of course, this is a good way to learn even some of the characters' names, because I'm not going to necessarily know that. What does it say for Tony, aside from Clown? Junior was a Capo, obviously, okay. Maybe it's going to show it again. Okay, Tony Soprano is a Capo as well. So he's obviously leapfrogged him there. But Tony is like not just any Capo, because he got to speak for like all the captains and things like that. Let me actually watch that thing again. Let me see because this is the kind of thing I can't do while normally watching it or driving, because so you get to see all these pictures of all so Capo, Raymond Capo, Junior Capo, James Military Capo, and obviously with him passing away, he's the new boss, and it's so obvious that they even know it, but they can't do shit about it. So we got to have like a actual smart, cunning detective character, and see how that plays out. But yeah, it's interesting to see that song coming from there. Now the only other thing I want to see is the thing of the mother with the guy, with Junior, which would have been towards the beginning of the episode. That's almost how it starts, right? I can't even find it actually as I'm looking. Yeah, this is like a Junior amazing Junior sort of episode where they're giving him a lot of screen time, but okay, we want to watch this. Let's watch this intently and analyze it a little bit. Now I don't mind talking over it nearly as much. So he's drinking the tea as he always does, like you see him in the cup. So now he shows off. He's showing off that he's the boss. New arrival, keep moving, fella. That's kind of a funny moment. Like, I'm way too smart to be in here, dude. Wait, but she even knows that. She even calls him the boss, too. So now he reads into this. See, he uses this now. Oh, everything that he says is gold. See, she has no idea about that. I should tax hash. But she acknowledges he's the boss. Now, she could mean in a different sense. She doesn't know what the boss exactly means there, but either she's going to turn out like, oh, this is all part of her plan and she's all smart, but it's just the way he reads into it. All she said was, you know, Tony worships everything he says. Everything he says is gold, hash. It was like, then Junior says, oh, so you're saying I should tax him? Like, what the fuck? She didn't say anything even close to that. He always does this. Oh, you said Brendan's a bad kid, so you're saying I should kill him? Oh, you're saying Christopher is like a son to you, so that means instead of killing him, I should torture him? Or, like, threaten to kill him, but teach him a lesson? He needs a good talking to. Like, the innuendo of him is so strong and so good that maybe now it's becoming a little bit of a pattern where it's less impressive, but the way this guy talks and the way he's written is so good. He does it in such a casual way. Oh, I think this young boy needs a good talking to. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Also, I'm going to threaten to kill him and scare him within an inch of his life, like that kind of thing. So the way he interprets things and extrapolates and turns them into something else is very potentially scary, but also impressive and interesting. Right, like the way he just did it there. He's almost using that to justify, like, oh, like Tony's mom almost told me to do it, even though she didn't. Right, she's giving him the idea. She's just talking about hash, and then he's saying, oh, I should tax hash? Like, what the fuck did she say about taxing hash? Like, let me watch a little bit of that again, too. My son thinks every word that comes out of his mouth is pure gold. She just looks confused, like, what are you talking about? either she is somehow doing, it just seems more like she actually is senile and he's just reading into what she's saying. But there could be something deeper to it that I'm not getting, right? Like, she keeps saying these things that he keeps taking a different way. So it's almost like she's the boss then. Like, somehow she's the one who had Brendan killed, but she did it in some incognito way that's like, you know, the way she said it, oh, he's a bad kid, or oh, I don't know what should be done with him. Right, so whether, I'm going to assert that she doesn't know what she's talking about and she's just having innocent, idle banter like the senile woman she is, right, old woman, but the way that Junior takes it is still as like a permission, right? She said, don't kill Chris, he's like a son, so he didn't do it. And she said, you know, like, so if she had said that about Brendan, maybe he would have listened. So he's respecting what she says in a certain manner of speaking. So if she gets really mad at Tony and says, oh, I don't know what should be done with him, then, you know, who knows what he might do. He might whack Tony, so... Yeah, just on another game theory element, just the scenes like that are strong because there's so much subtext going on, and he just volunteers that. You know, what kind of a Jew rides horses? And there's like, Tony thinks everything he says is gold, and then he's like, so you're saying that because I'm the new boss, I should tax hash? Like, where the fuck did that come from? Right? Like, now obviously it's a good way to get at Tony, and there could be a deeper meaning that he thought, I'm going to push hash out, thereby leaving Tony high and dry, thereby whatever, you know, making him leave because he has record labels. Whether Junior knew that or was thinking that far ahead, I don't know. So what I was saying with the game theory thing, though, is like, how long does a character last in the story with it being organically, impressively told, right? Which this has been, but how long does a character last? This is a good way to measure them and rate them. Tony Soprano lasted 5 episodes because nothing happened in like the first 4 that would have led to him dying, right? But in episode 5, he was dead. He was outside the hotel, he was with the daughter, he was dead. That's it, it's over. So it took 5 episodes and one very capable person who they wrote out and got killed in a stupid way. But that was it. Tony's dead, the story's over. Right, even as they wrote it. I didn't write it, but as they wrote it, he was dead. Now, he all of a sudden feels bad. Now, the one thing is that guy was almost operating under honorable game theory in this sense, that he thought, oh, well, Tony Soprano's not at his best because his daughter is drunk and distracting him and compromising him on this whole trip. So because Tony's not at his best because his daughter's compromising him, right, it's not that, I feel bad that your daughter's there, like, I'm going to make her fatherless or I'm going to accidentally shoot her or something. No, my interpretation, like, from a game theory is like, no, it's not fair. It wouldn't be fair to kill it because he's distracted by his daughter. Let's have a true 1v1 match where, like, we're both at our best, and then I'll kill you. So in other words, he wouldn't have gotten that one up on Tony if the daughter wasn't involved. You know, he'd be more on alert, whatever the situation might be, right? So in that sense, that's a game theory way you can justify it, but I don't, because it's like, this is the life that you've chosen, and you're both kind of out of your element, right? This guy also wasn't expecting Tony to just show up at his door, and he wasn't expecting to just run into him. He's just living his life, right? And Tony happens to go there by dumb luck, you know, or bad luck, that he finds him because he happens to be taking his daughter to college. So it's kind of a fluky situation in every sense. But the biggest thing to note is, again, it's like the honorable game theory that, Tony Soprano would not have died here, but he does because he's encumbered by his daughter, basically, and he's distracted by his daughter. So because of that, I'm going to say, you know what, it's not fair to kill you here because your daughter is the reason why and she's holding you back. So now we'll come at me like a real man and see who wins that encounter. But then, you know, Tony ends up winning really to no credit of his own. Like, what does he do? He just comes to the guy's place and sneaks up on him like that's it. And he's a pretty big dude. I don't see how he can sneak up, but yeah, that would be the way to qualify, like, the only reason why he would seem so easy to kill, right? Even as I'm lamenting that, you know, he only lasted 5 episodes, whatever. The only reason why that was the case, arguably, although this is, again, no excuse really, is because he was distracted by his daughter. So ordinarily, that wouldn't have happened, I guess. So, again, Tony at his best versus that guy at his best. Maybe Tony wins. Maybe. But I don't know, because, again, this guy also chose not to do it. So again, the daughter is the reason why you're getting killed, but your daughter is also the reason why you're getting saved. So I guess that equalizes and says, well, you know what I mean? Like, if it wasn't for the daughter, he would have just shot you there and wouldn't have felt bad about it. But also, if it wasn't because of the daughter, maybe you wouldn't have been in the position to get shot because you would have been more alert and you wouldn't have left yourself there like a sitting duck. So that's the point, to try to justify it, but still. That just felt like a plot armor moment that I'll remember all this time. Like, oh, Tony's so capable, Tony this, Tony that. You were dead. He had you dead to rights. Like, and you know it too. That doesn't mean you should go easy on him or spare him, but that means that you're not that impressive. Like, it wouldn't be that hard to take you out. And I love how I said that at the beginning. In the first episode, when it's like, oh, how hard would it be to catch this guy? How hard would it be to kill this guy? If I'm a rival gangster, or if I'm the police, it wouldn't be hard at all. And so we see that in only 4 episodes later, right? It's not hard to catch you or kill you at all, and we see that. So the story sort of validates what I was saying there. Pretty weak episode. I'll actually give it a D, despite how much I like Uncle Junior as a character. You can't just milk that and rely on that. This episode had very little substance to it. There was no strong narrative, and of course, again, Tony's going full clown mode, which is also a good prediction that the story is validating, that just he doesn't seem all that capable. He doesn't seem to have it all together, even though he's going through some of these issues and having strokes and stuff. That's the catalyst of like where the story starts. He starts with having a stroke, but I don't really accept it because, you know what I mean? I don't like them milking this therapy thing so fucking much, dude. Every episode, what is Melfi gonna be like, one of the main characters? Like, I thought she would just be there a couple times. Now you're getting the vibe that it's like some sort of they just want Lorraine Bracco in the story, so they're gonna have her in all the episodes for no reason other than that. Like, what the fuck? So now then they are gonna end up together. It just feels kind of contrived and forced. Like, you have it in the first episode, just we're introducing the story in the background with the therapy, which is a good technique. But now then you move on, and then maybe 20 episodes later you have one other appearance. Oh, hey, you're that doctor. And then that's it, right? Not like every single episode you do it. It just feels like very unnatural and sort of forced that they're doing this. Again, maybe a bit of a less of a cliche at that time in 1999, but it still is a cliche. No question about it. Yeah, this is actually the weakest episode. So if I was to rank the episodes, I would go episode 6 at the bottom, episode 3 above that, right? Because that one did have the other subplot, but it was the divorce one, and it just wasn't a particularly strong episode. So even the 2 worst episodes have Junior doing something cool, like just everything he's doing here is good, but it's not his fault. It's just like they're leaning on him too much. They needed something else stronger going on besides that. And then the other point is that episode 3 was where he does the hit at the end. So that was cool, but it's not really, that's not enough to save the episode. And then there's too much stuff with the kids at school, like fighting in the hallway and dumb shit like that. I think a lot of that was in episode 3, but maybe I'm wrong. And then they do it again, obviously, and that's when he realizes that he's, that was like episode 4, right? That's when he realizes that his dad is a criminal because they let off bullying. So that kind of part doesn't interest me too much. The stuff with the wife doesn't interest me too much. Right, with the stupid-ass priest and stuff like that at the house, whether they're going to cheat or not or anything. The way she did that was kind of cool, though. That could almost be a +1 as a snarky, bitchy thing to do. How she said it all, I didn't understand what she was even doing. She says it to him, oh, he was here last night, all night. I just didn't want you to get any ideas because his car was outside all night, whatever. And then Tony's all confused. And then she reveals that that's why. Like, oh, your therapist called, and it was a she. So because she's mad about that, she's rubbing in her face like, oh, I could have cheated on you. But the whole irony of it is, he would want to cheat on her with the therapist, but not really that. It's just more like... it's more like he's already cheated on her with the Russian. So, like, she's getting the idea right, but the person wrong. Like, he's not cheating with the therapist, but he would like to, and he cheats with somebody else. So, you're actually wrong, but you're kind of right with the essence of what you're saying. As if to assume that the therapist would be that easy to cheat with, too. Like, she seems like a classy woman. She has standards. She's not just going to do that. Although, at some point in the story, she probably will do it. Right? But it's just... she's going to fall in love with these little perks that she can get as a result, I suppose, of being associated with this big bad mobster. But also he's stalking her, following her around, having somebody fix her car, steal her car, all this kind of shit. Yeah, that is a really weird thing to do, that, he stole her car and fixed it. I thought he maybe just fixed it, like, right there, but maybe he stole it and then brought it back, like, whatever, the guys he sent. So he's used his power in a lot of weird ways, like, all this is not beneficial to the business, like, oh, you're stalking your therapist, or you're fixing her car, or you're finding the teacher's car. Like, all these things aren't part of your business, so they'd make you look bad even to the people who are doing it, right? Like, and the investigator kind of called it too, and I kind of got that vibe. It's like, why are you so into her like this? Like, oh, you're worried that she might rat you out, and so that's why you're stalking her, right, to find out what she's up to. But that actually wasn't why. It was actually because you have a crush on her or something, right? Like that guy was saying, oh, I thought you might be into her, blah, blah, blah. That's why he beat up the guy that she was with, basically. So now any guy that she ends up with, he's going to... Although, to be fair, Tony didn't tell him to do that. Tony just said follow her and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty weak episode. Not too impressed by it. Junior is doing Junior things. Only thing I didn't like is how... Again, he might be a little bit happy with being the boss and so forth, but I didn't like how even the mom called him boss, and even he said, now that I'm the boss, that kind of thing. So I don't like that, how he's announcing it. Yes, he's announcing it to somebody in a family innocuous sense, but it still seems like he was getting a little showy here. But he still sits at a +3. Let's recap. What are those 3 again? Again, his general demeanor, intelligence overall, he's calm, collected, etc., experienced. Number 2 is the fact that he has an old man kind of vibe that even I fell for, that he seems like harmless old man, but he's actually ruthless and all this, and ties into maybe the hit on Brendan and stuff like that. And then the final one is the simple fact that he, I don't know, how he gets the one-up on Tony with the hit on Brendan and all that, and like he not only does that, but he also gets the reparations from the truck spoils too back, and he teaches a lesson, and he also, like with the tax thing, he does the same thing. He asks high, and then they haggle, and then they get it lowered, but that makes him look good somehow, like, oh, he's being fair, because, So yeah, I like Tony's hesitation though. Like, I don't even want to be the boss. I don't care. Let Junior die of stress. Like, heavy is the head that lies the crown. Like, I've been saying that about Tony, but he doesn't even deserve the crown. And that's one thing. It's hard to hate on a guy, even if you say, oh, he's incompetent or he has flaws and he has all these issues. But when he acknowledges them himself, or when he backs off, like, he doesn't want to be the boss because he knows he's not good enough to be the boss or whatever. And so, how can I hate him for that when he's at least acknowledging what's obvious, what I've been saying all along, right? Some people would still be like, oh no, they're not capable just like he is, but they want to pretend like they are, or they want, like Fredo and The Godfather or something, they still want the credit. At least acknowledge that you're a clown, and then I can forgive you a little bit for being one.